It's a time to relax. No, it is, honestly, because I wanted to share this news with you because if, well, in the early 80s, you loved the sound of this particular band that really did shock the music charts, so much so that they were banned from the official Radio 1 countdown by a now infamous DJ. Well, this, of course, made the record go right to number one. And now, all these years later, it's about to be turned into a film. As ever, let me explain. Hi, good morning. Nice to see you. It's always good to step back, isn't it? Or is it? Because then you look at the years and think, really? Is it that many years ago? Well, it is. We're talking, of course, about a band that really did create a lot of controversy when you think about it at the start of their career. I've been lucky enough to meet most of the band, including the lead singer, Holly Johnson. We're talking about Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And way back in the middle 80s, all thanks to the super production of Trevor Horn, well, their big number one, Relax, was number one around the world. And what's interesting, I don't know if you know this, but that particular track had more 12-inch remixes than any other vinyl track in history because the demand was that they had to keep coming up with a new version in order. That's how the charts work then, to keep it going, to make sure that people still bought into it. Fascinating when you think of this download world now, isn't it? How disposable we've all become. Can you imagine if you'd have bought all of those remixes? Now, what's interesting here is the band themselves really only had a bit of a period for about 4 years maximum. They had two major albums and then they fell out and all the usual things. But of course, major stars still remain. And the bottom line is with Holly Johnson, he's managed to keep himself prolific over the many years since Relax, and other tracks like Two Tribes, do you remember that? The fighting presidents in the boxing ring? Well, as I say, it's about to become a movie. The film will be directed by Bernard Rose, who directed the original Relax music video. Now, he's had big success with movies like Candyman and Ivan Eck. He Goes to Hollywood were formed in 1980. Their first three singles, Relax, Two Tribes, and The Power of Love, each topped the charts in 1984. The first two were briefly banned by the BBC because of their, well, shall we say, provocation. Now, this is all based on the fact that things from the 80s seem to be the most in vogue, don't they? We've recently had Elton John, and then, of course, the brilliant Queen movie. And apparently the pop icon Madonna is still working on her own version of her own life. I don't know how she's going to squeeze all of that in to so many hours, do you? But I think it still will be a big hit because when you think about it, we, of course, who were living certain areas of that in the 80s and 90s, consider this still to be hip. But of course it's not, is it? It's now become very quickly nostalgia. The funders and backers and everybody behind this particular movie hope that we're all still ready to say, relax one more time to Frankie Goes to Hollywood and make the success that they think it should be. Now, what I'd like to know is, did you buy the single? Were you a fan of Frankie Goes to Hollywood, or didn't you buy into the hype at all? As ever, let me know in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.